4's Company, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Hi, everyone. Connor Newt. Nick Frazier literally just walked in at the buzzer. This is March. This is March.
I have so much to say right now. I'm mad, excited, happy, all the above. I was trying to do something nice for you guys as usual. I was trying to, get some donuts, bring them like I did last weekend. I got there at 8:30.
Yeah.
I sat in line for 20 minutes.
Wow.
It was 8:50. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be late. I better leave now. So I left. And then, of course, I was stuck behind a fire truck. So I'm like, all right, this is going to be about a little bit. Drove right to here, and I'm here on the dot, baby.
You are.
Here on the dot.
More buzzer beaters today than there were the entire weekend. But that's okay, because the first round of the NCAA tournament is complete. And boy, have I had fun with this. I mean, I brought my bracket to work today. We'll get into this. I bet you're wondering, where's Jake Lyman? Lyman is
He's on the go again.
He's on the go. He'll be back with us full time next week. I'm excited for that. But unfortunately, Vanderbilt women fell yesterday to Oregon in overtime. I believe it was 77-71.
Yeah, I watched that game. I was surprised the way MTSU women's team came back. They were down by like 6 points or 5 points within like the last 2 minutes.
Vanderbilt.
What did I say?
MTSU.
Sorry. Vanderbilt. Excuse me.
They did also play this week, though.
Yeah. But Vanderbilt, Michaela Blakes came in clutch as usual. Just couldn't get over the hump in overtime. Oregon, they missed a lot of their free throw shots in the last 2-3 minutes. Fouls is kind of what got not fouls, but possession of the ball for MTSU. Vanderbilt. They just couldn't seem to hold on to it.
I kind of regret not watching it. I didn't watch any women's games yesterday, but from what I've seen, they've been pretty close. Kentucky pulled themselves over Liberty by 79-78. Georgia Amore had like 30 points. She's just a baller. But the men's tournament has been pretty chalky, but the fun kind of chalky.
Yeah.
Like close games. I took off yesterday to watch. I was sick. So yes. I took off yesterday to watch. But I'm happy to announce that today, that will be the only thing we talk about.
Yes.
We need a break from the Cam Ward talk. We need a break from hockey. There's more important things going on right now, and that's the NCAA tournament. Everyone's team's still in it except for Nick Frazier's.
Yeah, you know what?
We'll talk about that.
Unbelievable. I didn't want them to be a statistic, and now they are. So
it's okay. It was a great game.
It was. It's just that last 35 seconds. I don't know what was going on in Chris Jan's head, but let's foul earlier.
Foul? And how about you let your player with 24 points take the last shot?
Yes.
Instead of letting a guy go up doubled.
I'll save a little bit of this for later.
We'll save it for later.
Unbelievable.
With that, we get to our headlines. Nick Frazier, you said you got a lot on your mind.
Yes.
Hit me with it.
So everybody knows I'm a big darts fan. Luke Littler, one of the best in the world. He is the world number one, in my opinion. I think he is world number one. But he had a 9-darter the other day against Michael Van Gerwen in the Premier League of Darts. 9-darter meaning hit 3 triple 20s twice, and then you could either hit a triple 20, a triple 19, and then a double 12. So he ended up going double 15 instead. And my goodness, it was incredible to watch. It was electric. I didn't see it live, but I rewatched the whole entire sequence of that darts game. So kudos to him. Let's see what else is on my line here. Brisbane Broncos won Thursday night or Thursday morning at 4 a.m. They took care of business for sure. And Mississippi State's out of the NCAA tournament. I mentioned yesterday on Chasing Big Joe, I did not want them to become a statistic for the SEC. And they became a statistic, unfortunately. So that's the unfortunate SEC basketball program there. I don't know. I just think the SEC, they were really good in the regular season and the tournament, their conference tournament. But then as a whole of a conference, I think you just got to put them on a different standard when it comes to March.
That's something I really want to get into later.
Yeah.
The SEC finished 8-6 in the first round, which is over 500. A lot getting in 14 teams, but still I feel so empty about it. I feel, man, they could have done better. And we'll get into that later. Jake Wallman, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Fantastic. It's been a good weekend.
It has been a good weekend. It's been a good morning.
It's been a fun one.
Holding it down here this morning,
Hold-
waiting on you guys.
Holding it down. Talking about rodeos and certain things we're not allowed to say on the air, but that's okay. What is your headline this morning, sir?
My headline this morning, I was perusing CBS Sports this morning looking for something to talk about, and I noticed that the UC or UMBC head coach that beat Virginia in 2018 to be the first 16 seed, knock off the 1 seed, is heading to Charlottesville.
Hey.
VCU lost this week to BYU, and Virginia now has their guy.
That's good. That's a really good hire.
Yeah, that is
actually.
a good hire.
That's a good hire. I would love to see Virginia basketball get back on top in some level.
Yeah, when Virginia basketball is good, I feel like the ACC is good. And it's funny you mentioned that you felt empty with the SEC this week, because I'm sure there are a lot of ACC fans that are feeling pretty empty today too.
They got four teams in, and only one is left through one round. So just a fantastic showing from the ACC. My headline:
UNC did a primo job against Ole Miss. By the way.
I mean, that was a good game. They were down 24 at one point, cut it.
They made it a game-ish.
Made it a game,
sort of.
But Ole Miss is just better.
Yeah.
My headline is local. Vanderbilt obviously lost yesterday to St. Mary's, which I picked in my bracket. I didn't believe the smoke. How about this? 13 minutes after the game goes final, Vanderbilt guard Karis Bilal has entered the portal. 13 minutes. That has got to be a record.
Clock them. I mean, I don't know how that looks. What do you think of the optics look like that for not only Vandy fans, but just, I guess.
I'm sure from his end, it says, hey, I'm a winner. I want to win. From everyone else's end, it's, oh, this guy is not afraid to give up on his team when the going gets tough. So I just thought that was funny. 13 minutes. And I mean, you look at the program Vanderbilt's building with Mark Byington. That's a program I think I would want to play for.
Especially going to the tournament in your first year as a coach.
Yeah. With a pretty much portal team, as a lot of teams have been, but 20-win season for Vanderbilt. That's 11 more games than they won last year. And this guy wastes no time. 13 minutes after the game is over. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on Vanderbilt basketball. I don't know how much this guy plays. Karis Bilal, if Lyman was here, he'd probably be able to tell me more.
I think he's a freshman.
Okay. He's a freshman, so he didn't trust the process. That's the problem. I think this is dying out a little bit, but a lot of these freshmen still are like, what is my quickest path to the NBA? Obviously, Vanderbilt is not going to be your quickest path to the NBA unless you are just a true standout. But I'm happy that era of college basketball is dying down a little bit. We're getting more of guys coming back for second, third, sometimes fourth years. It's just better for the game of basketball.
Oh, I agree. And I think Walma can help me out with this of what player it was Rick Barnes was referring to in his post-game press conference, saying, oh, I'm going to sit him down because he's getting paid to do X, Y, Z.
I feel like it was probably Igor Milicic.
Maybe so. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name of the player, but Rick
Barnes
dealt
with a lot the past month. He's been sick.
No. This person was healthy. This person was, I don't know what player it was. Excuse me for not knowing the name.
No, it's, I feel like you're talking about Igor Milicic.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. He's been dealing a lot with this past month. He's been sick. I know he had a hamstring coming down the final stretch of the season.
To Connor's point about just the NIL and players, like 13 minutes being out of, Vanderbilt wanting to opt out and stuff, like Rick Barnes even said it. He goes, listen, I'm paying this guy. That's what he's getting paid for to do. And he's starting to chuckle about it because that's the modern day version of college basketball, college sports in general. Mm. So now you got to look at it that way.
Some of these kids just don't take it seriously. It's a pathway to money. And I think, by allowing NIL and all that, you're opening that can of worms. This is a discussion that is evergreen. We could talk about this all the time. But that just says a lot to me that 13 minutes after your game goes final, you go to your coach and say, hey, I'm hitting the portal. I mean, hope he enjoys, maybe a mid-major that doesn't make the tournament next year.
Watch him go to like a team like Drake, who's in the tournament now.
Yeah. Goes to like UC San Diego or something like that.
Something like that.
Who I was impressed with UC San Diego. I didn't pick them, but they had me scared for a minute. I was like, are they going to pull this off against Michigan?
New Mexico, I believe New Mexico State, the Lobos. They pulled it out last night.
Yeah, and I didn't realize who their coach was.
Who's that?
Richard Pitino.
Oh, yeah. The son. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he looks just like Rick. It's kind of uncanny.
Sounds like him a little bit.
He sounds like him. He
A
looks
little
like
bit.
he
has
looks
that
like
New
Rick.
York accent.
Rick is the godfather, dude. Like, I just watch him pacing up and down the sidelines, and I'm like, what is he thinking right now?
The Don.
The Don. Like, he looks like a crime lord family leader.
Looks like the head of the Gambino crime family.
Yeah. Like, he's just like, who does this guy have a hit on? Are we going to see like an assassination attempt at halftime?
If he wears you know what? We'll get into this later, but if he wears a pinstripe suit against Calipari, that's the
it's the Don.
That's the Don.
My favorite is when he pulls out the white suit. It's like white coat, white pants, white shirt, black tie. I'm like, you look like
Johnny Fontaine from The Godfather.
Oh my God. Like, he looks like Scarface.
You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Well, I mean, that's Don Corleone, but Johnny Fontaine was the actor and musician and singer in that movie. And he performed, I guess, a song at his daughter's wedding, which was kind of funny. But
I mean, I would not want to make Rick Pitino mad. I would be scared for my life if I did that. He may have connections.
invite him to Sunday brunch or Sunday lunch.
No, if I was playing him, I'd kiss up to him. I'd take him to, Maggiano's or something.
No, you don't want to do that.
Let him he'd probably
take him to Nana's.
No, he'd probably hate Maggiano's.
Yeah, you don't.
No,
it's not real Italian to him.
Probably take him to like
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, do something southern. Give him like
Hardee's,
a fried steak or something.
Yeah, pancakes for dinner.
Yeah, hash brown casserole. Yeah.
Jake Walvin, you are in charge of our question of the day today. I don't know if you've had time to think about it, but
I've not. But I have a question of the day list topic in my phone. So I'm going to go back to something that Jake Lyman mentioned as a possible good question of the day that I also had down. So shout out to Jake Lyman, who's probably somewhere in the air right now. Who is the best, or I guess, who is the worst heel you can think of in college sports?
Oh,
can be anybody.
I think we should expand that to sports in general.
Yeah, I'm open for that.
This is a pretty college exclusive show today. We got to have a little bit of variety. Let's expand that to
all of sports.
All of sports.
Yeah, we can do that.
The biggest heel in all of sports. I'm a fan of that.
And it can be across like any generation, So
yeah, I've got a few.
For sports producers, I'm going with Jake Wallman, biggest heel in radio right now.
Well,
I wear that with a badge of honor.
That guy David James isn't too nice to me either. He's kind of a heel. Not a fan of that guy.
I don't know. This is a good one, Wallman. I'll have to think about this because there are a lot of heels where it comes to either wrestling or baseball. Like a lot of people don't like Bryce Harper. I know Chase is not a fan of Bryce Harper.
I've never been a big fan of Bryce Harper as well, but that's because of my Braves.
Sounds like, I was going to say, it sounds like some Braves fandom.
This is going to be tough. I got to think about this.
I've got some good ones in like college basketball as well.
I do. Mostly white guys from Duke is kind of the heel.
The one I'm thinking of is not, but yeah, I see your point.
I mean, Christian Laettner. I don't want to give all of them away.
I just got a laundry list over there.
I got a hit list, dude. I got a hit list. You could text your answers to what is the biggest heel in sports to our phone lines, or you could call 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, we kind of hit on it a little bit, but what a fun first round. The chalkiest but most fun first round I think I can remember. We'll break it all down next. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in to 94.9 The Fan today for the NASCAR, just mix NASCAR and Xfinity together. NASCAR Xfinity Series race, the Hard Rock Bet 300, starting at 2:30 p.m. and tomorrow for the next NASCAR Xfinity Cup Series. Straight Talk Wireless 400 at 1 p.m. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I want to go fast.
Yeah, we're going to go fast. Boogity, boogie, boogie. Let's go racing, boys. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman behind the glass. And we have just completed one half of the best weekend of the year in sports, in my humble opinion. I mean, just how many of these games did you watch? Because I watched every single one.
I think I watched all of them except for 5, 6 of them.
That's respectable.
Yeah, I tried to do like the quad screen.
That's what I did.
I have a Roku, and they have like that NCAA. I was wondering if they had the NCAA app, like the NCAA
March Madness
thing.
Live.
And I was like, oh, I hope they have it. So I was like, yes, they got it. So I downloaded it, and I was like, man, I got to sign to a TV provider. Signed in. It's like, where's the quad screen? I need to find the quad screen. I had to scroll like 3 pages down. It said fast break quad screen. I was like, that's it. That's the one. And so it would go in between all of the games.
Oh, the fast break. Yes.
Yeah.
When I was driving from school on Thursday, first day of the tournament, I had to come here for work. I was like, man, I really want to watch the games. None of the radio stations are carrying it. March Madness Live, quad screen. I just listened. They took you through all the games. It's like Red Zone, but
yes.
March Madness is awesome. But I watched pretty much everyone, not totally in depth because the quad screen limits a little bit of that. But, you know, I had fun with it. When Parker Kelly and I were here Thursday producing the Preds, quad screen wouldn't work on the computer. So I said, Parker, get your laptop going. We'll use this middle computer. We'll use the 2 TVs on the top. We had all 4 games going.
Holy cow.
We were getting work done, but Parker, what's the Tennessee score? And he'd tell me. It was a good night.
It was a good night.
Not many major upsets, but there is one that I did call. How about McNeese State?
Incredible.
Will Wade. I was a little bit worried about McNeese State after Will Wade basically said, I'm going to NC State. We've already talked about transfer portal options with our players.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was about to throw the game. But they just take it to Clemson from the jump. Clemson comes back a little bit. McNeese holds on. But what a game. What a fun team. Would you say McNeese is probably the Cinderella?
Yeah, either them or Drake.
Yeah, Drake was actually favored in Vegas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I'm not sure if I would count them. Drake lost 3 games the entire season.
Yeah.
They obviously Vanderbilt fans obviously know them well. Handed Vanderbilt their first loss of the season, but they're a fun team to watch. They're really good.
Mm-hmm. And they held Missouri to 57 points, and all year Missouri's been putting up 80, 79, 85, all those high-ranging numbers for a final score against an Alabama and Auburn, Tennessee, so forth. And now look at them. They had to go up against a team that they had 0. Obviously, you scout teams throughout the week going into the game, but yet you don't have a full gauge on them. And sure enough, they got shown up.
They advanced to take on Texas Tech today. That's going to be a fun one.
You know, Texas Tech is another team that always has my eye because sometimes they'll perform well and sometimes they won't. And for them being, I believe, a 3 seed, aren't they?
Yes, they are the 3 seed in the West region.
That's nerve-wracking, man. I don't know. I think
I'd be nervous.
Sniffing another upset.
I'd be nervous if I'm the Red Raiders because I think JT Toppin is great. I think he's a good NBA player, but they don't have the depth that a lot of teams have. And I think Drake is silently a pretty deep team.
And I believe they're pretty tall as well.
They're pretty tall.
Yeah. They were rebounding the ball pretty well. I think they had 31 rebounds total against Missouri. Yeah, that's right. 31 rebounds. I mean, come on.
Let's pause this conversation real quick. Eric is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, to address our question of the day. Eric, what's up?
Hey, guys. But before I get to that, I'm just going to throw this out there. And if I had, maybe you guys would have just sadness from the passing of George Foreman. I found that out late last night.
Yes, I had considered that for the headline. I forgot about it this morning, but
yeah,
man, what a legend of the sport.
Oh yeah. I don't remember a lot about his career when I was young because I think when he lost Muhammad Ali, I was about 11, 12 years old. And I think when he retired, I was like 13. But I certainly remember his later career, and he had a film about him about a couple of years ago, which was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't say totally hilarious, but it just talked about his life and everything like that, just the ups and downs he went through, how he turned his life around, and the whole George Foreman grill, and what he did training-wise to get back into shape after, which was pretty fun, and some of the things he did to try to get back into shape in the ring after he had been out of the ring so long, but just sadly, it's going to be missed, and
Yes.
just condolences to his family. But heels, I've got two. My first one, you talk about wrestling heel, one of the great wrestling heels. I had to throw this out there. Ric Flair with a woo and
Woo!
Four Horsemen and stuff like that. It just how a lot of times he went bananas and everything like that. But just incredible the way he was able to wrestle, especially after he had the plane crash and issues with his back. It's just, man, he's a legend. I mean, I didn't like a lot of times how he treated his family and all that stuff outside the ring, but he was a great performer. And that's one of the sad things. A lot of people felt like he was always on. But as far as heels all time, and of course, Mr. Boxing, Muhammad Ali, certainly, I think he loved it that people hated him, just where we talk smack and all that type of stuff, relationship with Hal Cosell, and just how he talked about fighters and all this stuff. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
Just whatever you thought about him, but Muhammad Ali. But one other quick thing, you were talking about college basketball, and just want to get your thoughts on this. A couple of things. First of all, one of the interesting things is they talked to Seth Greenberg, I guess it was yesterday, was talking about the loss of Kansas. Now, Kansas had kind of been down this year, and he was talking about the NIL, of course, the transfer portal, that they had invested a couple of players that didn't turn out for Kansas as the way they had hoped. And I'm not saying Self is in trouble, but if they struggle next year, there's going to be a lot of heat on him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the new normal where traditional programs are in trouble. And programs like, of course, Vanderbilt can come out of nowhere with the whole NIL and transfer portal deal, and with boosters and all these people contributing money, you got to invest wisely. But I'm sure you've also talked about this. One of the things a lot of people believe is going to happen, and I'm not in favor of this, and that's, of course, the expansion of the tournament.
Yeah.
A lot of people that believe that's going to happen within the next 2-3 years, at least 4. And I get that'll probably happen, but I'm not in favor of having like 89 teams in the tournament.
Right.
But just wanted to get your thoughts on that about possible expansion of the tournament. And a lot of people believe we're going to get at least probably 4 within the next 3 years, 2 or 3 years. Guys, I'll get off and let you get some other callers. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Eric.
Appreciate it.
Always appreciate the call. What do you want? Bill Self first? Let's take that.
I just want to touch real quick on George Foreman. You know, one of those iconic boxers, especially in his day. I mean, obviously I wasn't around for any of it, but just everybody knows who George Foreman was.
Yeah.
Especially his impact on the sport of boxing, because in that, you know, domino affected into a young Mike Tyson eventually and so forth. And so I don't know. It's just, it's very sad, because I know what it's like to have I mean, my grandfather was a wrestler. So like for somebody to die at the age of, your mid 70s,
I think he was like 76.
Yeah. So it's very unfortunate, but rest in peace to George Foreman. Was a gold medal winner in Mexico City in the 68 Olympics, I believe. And so rest in peace to him.
This is going to sound bad, but when I saw George Foreman passed away, first thing my mind went to
the girl,
Michael Scott.
Oh yeah. The bacon.
Burning his foot on the Foreman grill. Pam, I need you to take me to the hospital.
He wraps it in bubble wrap.
Wraps it in bubble wrap, and he's like,
I mean, who doesn't love to wake up to the smell of crackling bacon?
Yeah, he wasn't going to eat it. He just wanted to wake up to the smell. And he woke up and burned his foot. And then he said, why are you discriminating against me? I'm handicapped.
Oh yeah, because he burned his foot. Is that the same episode where he made like French toast, like a giant mound of French toast?
No, that was
Michael Scott Paper Company.
Yeah, that was Michael, right. where he gets Pam to come over to the condo. We're gonna go get some investors.
It's his grandmother.
It's his grandmother, and they go to the bowling alley and pick up Ryan, who has blonde hair now.
Hey, what size shoe are you? 8.5. Grabs him and just runs. But yeah, you mentioned Bill Self. Yeah, let's start there. How about that?
Sure. Bill Self, I think, is a legend of this sport. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's got, championships to back it up. I think his time is over. I think he's on the same level of Calipari, which ironically, that's who beat him. Just the game has passed him by. I was listening to Charles Barkley yesterday during the kind of the in between.
Yeah, like pregame slash. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What he was talking about is, you still have these big name markets, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, blue blood markets that, some recruits are going to be attracted to simply because of what they can provide and the name it puts on their chest. But here's the thing. We live in a day and age of NIL. Anyone can get anyone at this point. Anyone can offer pretty much the same benefits that a blue blood can offer. Vanderbilt, for instance, could offer a $1.1 million contract NIL investment to a 5-star player, just like Kentucky can. And I think that's kind of been the downfall of Bill Self, like a lot of coaches, is that he can't get these perennial 5-star blue chip talent as much as he normally could. Calipari is the same way. He can get the talent. Well, he's a little different. He can get the talent. You just can't win with him. But I think Bill Self, I think this is the beginning of the end for Bill Self. They're not going to fire him, I don't think, because he's just been there so long and he's done so much for them. But I could see maybe a Calipari situation where, hey, Bill, why don't you go talk to someone else?
Maybe there's a mid-major team somewhere that would want you or something like that.
I wouldn't stoop that low for mid-major. Maybe go talk to, maybe Purdue will want you. Or, well, Purdue's pretty good. Maybe, Rutgers or Northwestern.
USC, go out west.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they need you.
Resurge in the tournament.
Yeah. That's just how I feel about Bill Self.
I kind of look at it a different way. I mean, obviously his health complications last year, we were talking about that during the break. Obviously, if that's a big issue, then sure, you might need to look at other avenues, especially if it's college basketball. But it's something that college football is starting to do this, where they're adding general managers and they're adding, I guess, like advisors to all these athletic programs.
There was a weird one the other day. Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
Hired as a general manager.
I saw that. I was like, what, UC Santa Barbara or something like that?
It was a small school.
It was out west.
Yeah. I know it was out west.
But anyways, he'll be a general manager for that. So like maybe that's another avenue for Bill Self if he wants to be a general manager or some sort of advisor.
Cal Berkeley.
That's it. Yeah. Cal Berkeley. So I mean, that's pretty solid for Rivera. But I mean, back to Self. If he still wants to coach, like you're saying, find a school that would kind of want you, like a Calipari. But if he doesn't want to coach, but still wants to help grow the youth and athleticism of players, become like an advisor.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think the downfall of Kansas this year was something to watch. Preseason number 1. Then it was just everything that could go wrong did go wrong for them. And now they're losing pretty much their whole team because they were all, 5th-year seniors, Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, guys like that.
Hunter Dickinson's been in like college basketball for like 8 years. Wasn't he at Michigan for like 5?
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're done with the COVID year stuff. Unfortunately, because of a certain Vanderbilt quarterback, it's just going to get worse.
Bavia.
Because of this JUCO rule. Eric asked about tournament expansion.
Yeah.
I was talking to my dad about this the other day. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but they were talking about North Carolina when they won their play-in game. This is their umpteenth tournament win. I was like, they can't count that as a tournament win. They had to win to get into the tournament. You're not technically a part of the tournament.
Well,
sort of.
I mean, if you look at the scorebook, it has both teams as 11 seeds, and you're just thinking, okay, I get it. But like, I understand, like it's a play-in game. It's a part of the festivities of the tournament, but not necessarily the final bracket. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. But to expansion, like you said, you were talking with your dad about, like, I could see it happening, and I could see it being milked out to the point where it'll start on a Tuesday, and you'll have the whole week. Everybody will take that whole week off. Tuesday, Wednesday, a big old bracket on one side. Thursday, Friday, the other big old bracket. And then they'll take Saturday possibly off and resume on Sunday. And then you just have a bunch of games Monday, and they'll space it out. I think that's what will happen. Which in regard means you have to get smaller seasons in conference. You can't go having these long seasons anymore, like 20 to whatever amount of games it is. I don't recall, but
Would that also require moving the season up? I mean, because now they start like mid-November.
What would you prefer, Connor? I'm curious.
I prefer everything stay the same, but we can't always have anything we want. I don't think they would start it earlier. I think they would just milk March Madness longer, so it'd be done by end of April.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Then what's the whole point of branding it as March Madness?
Because it's a brand and it sells itself.
That's true. I don't know.
Text line's going after me for coming after Bill Self.
Really?
He says 2 bad seasons. Hold on, I just lost it. 2 bad seasons, and they had a few players that didn't make it and went elsewhere. You're reaching. They were preseason AP number 1, and they'll be in the top 10 to start the season. Yes, they will. But that's not my point. My point is they were AP number 1 and fell off to a 7 seed and lost in the first round.
It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish.
Yes, it is.
Like, why do people not understand that?
I don't know. But I don't think he understood the argument, but it is what it is. Coming up next, the SEC had an interesting showing in the first round. I'm curious how we would grade it. 8-6 in the first round. We'll talk about it coming up next. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in later today to 102.5, 106.3 The Game for Vanderbilt baseball as the Commodores host Texas A&M. Pregame begins at 1:45 p.m. and first pitch is at 2 p.m. Coverage also available on the 102.5 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com. Welcome back in 4's Company, presented by LPL Financial planning for tomorrow so that you can enjoy today. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman behind the glass.
Yes, let's enjoy today.
Let's enjoy today. Let's enjoy this weekend.
Let's embrace the madness.
Embrace the madness.
Embrace the March Madness.
I think of something that Big Cat, Dan Katz with Barstool once said
I love Big Cat.
about football. You only get so much of these.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Because tomorrow's going to be a lot different than today. You enjoy that.
That is. We could be really sad tomorrow.
We could be, both of us.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah. I fortunately get the day off today. I get to relax, which I'm thankful, which you got yesterday.
Newt and I are headed to Waffle House after this.
We're going to go to F&M Liquidations or whatever it's called.
No, we're not.
No.
We're going to Waffle House.
Waffle House. Speaking of the SEC in March Madness, finished 8-6 in the first round. Kind of what I expected. I knew getting all 14 of these teams in, you were going to have some clunkers. Now, the ones that lost, I kind of figured were the ones that were going to lose. You know, Missouri, I actually had Missouri winning, so I can't count that one. Who lost?
You had Missouri winning?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I went.
Was that the only one that picked Drake?
I think you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my dark horse last night.
My dark horse, unfortunately, got throttled last night.
That Akron?
Yeah.
Woo.
I had Liberty. Don't feel bad.
I mean,
They got zipped up in a body bag. I mean,
it was a 10-point game at halftime. I felt good.
I only had one mid-major in the Sweet 16, and that was Grand Canyon, and they got throttled too. Thank you, Bryce Drew.
we got fooled.
Yeah, we drank the Kool-Aid. Missouri falls, Oklahoma falls, Vanderbilt obviously falls. There's some I'm missing. There's 3 more. Wow. I have the bracket right in front of me and I can't find it. Anyways, they went 8-6.
Georgia, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt.
Thank you. Georgia, Mississippi
There you go.
State, Texas.
Texas was one of them.
There we go.
The play-in.
There we go. We got them. As I said, 8-6. What letter grade would you give the SEC?
I mean, maybe a C.
I was thinking C+.
A C minus.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaning more towards like C's and D's rather than B's and A's.
Yeah. I mean, your heavy hitters obviously got wins. Florida dominates. Auburn dominates. Bama squeaks out a close one against Robert Morris.
Can my letter grade change if the SEC gets like 2 to 3 teams in?
The SEC asked you for extra credit. Would you give it to them?
No, they get enough credit.
They pull you in your office and say, listen, I'm really struggling in your class. Can I please get extra credit?
See, I was one of those kids that, I always had to find that extra credit from time to time. So, I mean, this is tough, Connor. You're talking to the wrong guy when you offer this question. Oh, I'm going to say, yeah, give me the extra credit. I will give them the extra credit if that's the case. I mean, they get enough credit as is, as a conference. But if somebody comes to my desk and I'm a teacher and they ask for extra credit, by God, I'm going to give them extra credit.
We're getting a little chappy on the text line.
Uh-oh.
I love it.
Someone does not agree with my extra credit?
Well, someone called us to quote Jared. Actually, I'm not going to quote Jared.
Yeah, let's not.
But someone called us a part of the body that is not supposed to be said on the
That's generous.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Yeah, I would give the SEC probably a C+ too. Now, your heavy hitters got wins. Auburn dominated, Florida dominated, Alabama squeaked out a close one. Tennessee got by Wofford pretty easily. Kentucky got by Troy, which I will say it now. Mark Pope has done more in the tournament in his first year at Kentucky than John Calaberry has in 5 years. I feel great. My anxiety will come tomorrow when I have to play Illinois and in the afternoon.
What was the anxiety like yesterday?
Oh, I was so scared. I was like, oh my God.
I texted him. He goes, my Kentucky. What did you say? Kentucky what?
Kentucky PTSD.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take a battered cat syndrome for you.
Yeah.
That's BVS is all you. But I used Kentucky PTSD. I was like, we're going to get pounced by Troy in the first round. Troy, Alabama.
Then in the second half, I took man, this game's getting pretty close. It's a 21-point
They
margin.
got up by 21, and I was like, man, okay, I feel better.
Are you watching the same game as I am? Like, yeah, I am.
Then they showed this little kid taking off his Troy hat and beating it against the wall, and I was like, oh, I feel way better now. I was feeling good. But yeah, the chalky teams in the SEC get wins.
Yep.
The chalky teams on the lower end do not get wins. I'd give them a C+.
I'm going C-. I can't. I really cannot give them that oomph of the plus. There is no plus to this. You have 14 teams in the playoff. Excuse me. You have 14 teams in the tournament, and you're going to go say, oh, yeah, that's a good performance. They have above 500 record as a conference. No, you have more bids than anybody else. You should be able to get more teams into the next round. But that just goes to show you, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to include Mississippi State on this. I didn't want them to be a statistic, but they are now.
They're on the wrong side of history.
They're on the wrong side of history. And this SEC, everybody said was really good in the regular season. And I go back to my initial statement I made at the beginning of the show. It is a different resume once you get into the tournament. These traditional teams like Baylor that always do well in the tournament, your Dukes, and I'm going to include North Carolina in this one because they won their play-in game. Texas didn't. Like, you have your blue bloods that are on a regular basis performing in the tournament. Then you have the SEC that has a really good, as a whole conference, does really good and gets the most in this year. No.
Well, and what's worse about that Texas game is they blew like a 12-point lead.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to be very upset with what I'm about to tell you. I'm sorry. Tennessee today, they better watch out. I'm serious. UCLA, another team that always performs for some ungodly reason.
They do
in the tournament.
I'm with you. I mean that I was kind of nervous about their game with Wofford. I mean they played pretty well. You know, kind of kept Wofford at like an arm's distance, but outside of Zakai and Chaz, I guess Gainey had a pretty good game. Jemai Mashak, he had a Jemai Mashak type stat line, but I mean, now it starts.
Yeah,
now it starts.
If I have to look at the teams that are still left in the tournament from the SEC team, like I think two in mind that really stick out to me. One is for sure Florida because they manhandled whoever they played last night. It was like a 50-point margin, 30-point margin, something like that. The other team, and I'm looking at Connor Newt when I say this because I'm not buying in on Auburn. I'm buying in on Kentucky.
Who?
I am.
You're gonna get burnt. You're gonna get hurt.
I'm gonna get burnt and hurt.
You're gonna get hurt. They're gonna go to the Sweet 16 and probably play Tennessee and lose. And I will be insufferable. Well, he will be insufferable. I will probably not show up to work for a week. Coming up next, I have a special game for Nick Frazier.
Uh-oh.
On a very special March Madness edition of Newt's Notes.
No puzzles.
No puzzles.
All right, good.
No puzzle. I promise we're not going to do a jigsaw puzzle for 15 minutes. Newt's Notes coming up next on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Ah, yes. The greatest intro in all of sports radio. Hey, this week's Nashville's best deals from Streetcar Taps and Garden. Patio season is here. Enjoy great food, cold drinks, and fresh air on Streetcar Taps and Garden's covered patio. Get half off a $30 gift card now before they are gone at thegamenashville.com/deals. Welcome back, 4's company. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Jake Wellman, just killing it behind the glass. It's time for Newt's Notes. And Frazier,
Talk to us.
do I have a game for you?
I'm ready.
It's March Madness. Let's play a little mascot madness, shall we?
Yes.
I have in my hand 16. I only got time for 16. I didn't want to do a full 64. 16 mascots. We got some Cinderellas in there. We got some powerhouses. So with that, we begin with the selection show. Please hit the music.
Oh, yes.
All right. We begin with the number 1 overall seed taking on number 16. Number 1, Puddles the Duck, taking on Big Red from Western Kentucky University. We move down the bracket to the 8 seed, Sparty from Michigan State University, taking on Smokey from good old Rocky Top. Later on, we move to number 4, Brutus from Ohio State University, taking on Albert the Alligator, the number 13 seed from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, the Stanford Tree from Stanford, taking on Mike the Tiger, the 12 seed out of LSU. Number 2 is Big Al from Alabama, taking on Mr. C, the Vanderbilt Commodore, who I've grown to love, a good friend of ours. Number 7, this is where I'm really going to test your friendship and how much you love me. The Wildcat out of Kentucky, taking on Cardinal Bird from Louisville.
Ooh, rivalry matchup.
The 7 versus the 10. We move on down to number 3, the Duke Blue Devil, taking on Lightning out of MTSU. And to wrap us out, we have Ramses out of the University of North Carolina, taking on Otto the Orange, the 11 seed out of Syracuse.
It's tough.
We begin with number 1, Puddles from Oregon versus number 16, Big Red. Nick Frazier, your selection.
Save the Ducks.
Puddles
Give me
Duck.
Puddles.
Puddles wins outright, moving on to the Elite 8. All right, 8 versus 9. Sparty from Michigan State taking on Smokey from Tennessee.
Ooh. I'm going to go Smokey.
Smokey?
I grew up on Smokey.
Thank you, Nick Frazier.
You're welcome.
I actually love Smokey.
Yeah, Smokey's a great
Smokey the
mascot.
real dog.
It's great.
Smokey.
If you guys want some nightmare fuel, you should look up like past versions of the.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah,
It's scary.
it's just like a zip up costume.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean he's a beautiful
He's a good dog. He's a
Blue,
good,
blue chick hound. Beautiful.
he's a good boy. Number 4, Brutus from Ohio State, taking on Albert the Alligator, number 13.
Oh,
I smell upset.
I'm going with the alligator.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Chomp chomp.
Chomp, chomp. I love Albert the Alligator. I do not
Gator
like
meat's
Florida.
delicious, by the way.
I have never had gator meat.
It's delicious.
Tastes like chicken.
All right.
Yes, it does.
Couple of NCAA 14 favorites in the mascot mode. Stanford Tree versus Mike the Tiger. 5 versus 12.
Ooh. This is tough. I like the animals.
Yes.
I'm a big animal guy. I'm going Mike the Tiger.
Yes.
I'm going Mike the Tiger.
A 12 and a 13 meet in the Elite 8. Mike from LSU. He was at the SEC tournament.
Just the
And I was just enamored with him.
Stanford Cardinals, they kind of make fun of the unofficial mascot of the Stanford Tree.
Yes.
He's got buck teeth, big old eyes, and they're pointing in different directions. Like, come on now. Show a little pride in your school.
All right. Big Al from Alabama, the elephant, the 2 seed, taking on Mr. C.
And this is what they do, or whatever. This whatever they.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Love.
I'm getting with it.
Love
I'm
me
hip.
some Big Al. One of my favorites.
You say Big Allen who? I'm sorry.
Mr. C from Vanderbilt.
Ooh. Give me Mr. C. Go with the
Whoa.
Commodores.
All upsets today for Nick Frazier. Mr. C
I'm a short guy. You know what that means.
taking on
Short people. Upset city.
Big Brain. Anyways,
Big brain, baby.
all right. This is how I decide if you're going to get to finish the show out.
Uh-oh.
The Wildcat from Kentucky, my good friend, good buddy of mine, taking on Cardinal Bird from Loserville.
Ooh. Sorry, Jared Stillman. The only Cardinals I like are St. Louis. Give me the Kentucky Wildcats.
Amen, brother. Love me that Wildcat. He's a good boy. All right. This is going to be a fun one.
All right.
The Blue Devil from Duke versus Lightning. Sitting right behind me.
Ooh, you gotta go with Lightning.
Oh,
It's a better mascot than Duke. Come on now.
David takes down Goliath
Indeed.
as Lightning takes down the Duke Blue Devil. And then we finally finish. You just completely dodged a Duke UNC second round match.
I did.
Ramses from North Carolina taking on Otto the Orange from Syracuse.
Those horns are gonna punch that orange. So just give me UNC.
Ramses. I like Ramses. He's good.
Just an animal mascot guy.
Yeah, I am too. All right, we advance to the Elite Eight. Number 1, Puddles, taking on number 9, Smokey. What are we doing?
Give me Smokey.
Whoa! Smokey over my favorite mascot.
Can't save the Ducks this round.
In all of college sports. Good old Rocky Top is going to the Final Four. Albert, the alligator, versus Mike from LSU. Mike the Tiger, an SEC matchup in the Elite Eight.
Give me Mike the Tiger.
Mike the Tiger
Yep.
advances to the Final Four.
I've actually had to witness Mike the Tiger with my own eyes.
I did too. I saw him at the SEC tournament. I was just fully enamored.
Went to Baton Rouge, man. Unbelievable.
Oh.
It was absolutely awesome.
I love Mike. Mike's one of my favorites. Mr. C versus my Wildcat. Number 15 versus number 7.
Give me the Commodores. Give me the Commodores.
Mr. C.
There's something about the Commodores mascot. Love Mr. C.
Mr. C's cool. We hung out with him at the SEC tournament. He waves to the kids. He's good to the kids, and
Good.
he's a good guy. Lightning taking on Ramses. Number 14 versus number 6.
Give me UNC.
Okay.
Ramses, yeah. I don't think MTSU goes that deep.
All right. We have hit the Final Four. Smokey taking on Mike.
Oh, boy. Give me Smokey.
Oh, wow. Smokey to the championship. As there is a YouTube ad playing under me.
No, I don't think so. It's a part of the...
Yeah, it's part of the bit.
Yeah.
Part of the bit. Mr. C versus Ramses. Could we have an in-state battle for the title?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah.
We are having an in-state battle here.
Fraser's setting me up to fail right here. I can feel it.
He's pulling
I
on your
can feel
heartstrings right now.
Yes, man. That's exactly it.
He's playing. All right. The national championship of Mascot Madness.
Play with this kid's heart over here.
Smokey, Mr. C, the biggest rivalry in college sports.
Mm-hmm.
A dog versus a man. Does man's best friend take down the man?
You know, I think Jake Wallman's heart is strung like a banjo. And unfortunately, I'm going with the Vols. I'm going with the Vols.
Yes.
How about that?
Look at that. Hang the banner.
So I don't know if you know this, Wallman, but as a kid, Smokey, the mascot, was one of my favorite mascots as a kid.
Really?
Yes. I had a cool Smokey hat. It's actually the second or third logo that Tennessee uses as a score bug with ESPN. It's that Smokey logo, you know what I'm talking about?
The full dog one with
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know that
I had
one.
a hat like that when I was a kid. It was my favorite hat.
I'm sorry you had to wear that.
I know. And then, once my brother went to college, like, you know what? I wasn't really a Tennessee fan. I just liked the mascot. I love a blue tick out.
Bully was on the bubble. I wanted to put him in, but
Listen, if you put Bully in there, it'd have been Jack, and Jack's all the way through.
yeah.
That's his real name.
Well, that was
Jack.
fun.
Thank you.
I did not expect Smokey to come out on top
Isn't that crazy?
as
Huh?
the 9 seed. I was fully prepared for Puddles the Duck.
Save the Ducks.
Save the Ducks. Love the Ducks. Mascot Madness. Smokey wins the inaugural Newt's Notes Mascot Madness Championship. Not how I would have planned it, but
Sorry if I bursted your bubble.
that's okay. I'm just happy you picked the Wildcat over that stupid red bird.
Yeah, that's not happening. Like I said, the only Cardinal I enjoy watching is the St. Louis Cardinals, and they're going to be terrible this year.
Enjoy
so,
watching is a stretch.
Yeah. I just enjoy going to a baseball game with my favorite team on the field. That's it.
All right. Well, that was fun. When we come back, we'll get back into our question of the day. Who is the biggest heel in sports? We have our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com all lined up, ready for you to call. We have some text to get to. We'll get to it next on 4's Company 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You're Oh, there it is.
Force Company, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly BI membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Welcome back in. Second hour. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, jamming out right now.
Feeling it.
Taking Smokey in the last segment as the best mascot in college sports.
Now, Vols fans, you can't come after me. I did y'all a nice service here, all right? He's a good mascot.
You're just buttering them up so you can crush their hearts later in the show.
I love Rocky Top. I have no problem with it. It's a state song. I love it.
I showed you during the break when I went to Knoxville. We were losing at the time. They were playing Rocky Top. My two friends are, Rocky Top. And then they pan over to me. I'm sitting on the steps, just miserable.
They did you dirty.
They did me dirty, but
who's going to have the last laugh? Is the real question.
Who had the last laugh that day? I did.
This guy.
This guy did. Now, will I have the last laugh at the end of the season? That remains to be seen. I tend to believe no, but we'll see. Let's get into our question of the day. Jake Wallman asked, who is the biggest heel in all of sports? Before we give our answers, we have a few on the text line. Devin and Dixon on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says Kyle Busch was the most hated man in NASCAR for 2 decades. Yes. Sean is behind me. Our friend Sean Mark says go Gators. He's chomping the yes, but
go back to your statement there, sir.
Kyle Busch from Devin and Dixon.
Yeah,
biggest heel.
He's top 20. I mean, I'm not a big NASCAR guy, but I've heard and I've read places that he's top 20 for sure of being one of the dirtiest NASCAR drivers out there.
Yeah,
Plus, I do recall him getting in like an actual fist fight. I don't know if it was recently or a few years back. Somebody on the text line or call in, whatever. Just let me know if I'm right or wrong. I do recall seeing something about that.
Jim on our text line.
Oh boy,
Gymnasium.
Oh
his name. Who I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
Interesting.
But he's given some good answers. Dennis Rodman was a heel with the Pistons and Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Henderson from Ole Miss. I remember Marshall Henderson.
Yeah.
Richard Petty, absolute heel in the 70s.
Again, wasn't around in the 70s, but I do recall seeing video of Richard Petty. I would say borderline, not dirty, but more of like cheating in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like dirty, but more cheating. I don't know.
Some good answers. We'll continue to take them throughout the show.
May I
real quick? Yes.
Marshall Henderson. The texter mentioned Marshall Henderson out of Ole Miss.
Gymnasium has mentioned
Marshall Henderson. Marshall Henderson was an absolute menace to society, but yet that dude would hit threes like nobody's business. I don't know if you recall Marshall Henderson when he played for Ole Miss.
I was young.
I do. He was going to be my pick.
Really?
Yeah.
I was little when he played, but I do remember him by
absolute menace.
When Jake Lyman mentioned this as a possible question of the day, he was the first person that popped into my head because there's always that clip that ESPN will show of Ole Miss playing at Auburn, and he hit some big shot, I think, to win the game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he is like from me to these computers, just shaking his jersey in fans' faces. He was a menace to society.
Yeah, I was little for Marshall Henderson. Christian Laettner comes to mind for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't around for him, but they show that damn shot every year in '92. Laettner over Kentucky to advance to the national championship every year, and I've seen the documentary is on Laettner and
the E60s and so forth.
Another Duke white guy, Grayson Allen.
Yeah,
can't stand that guy.
Yep.
I feel like I should put some stipulations on this. It can't be somebody that you just hate, but they're good at the game, like Tom Brady.
Yeah, we had a texter that said LeBron James.
I don't like LeBron.
I don't either, but
I think it is what it is.
I think my ultimate answer would be Jack Golke, the kid out of Oakland last year. No, he's a heel.
Was he a heel?
Oh, he's a heel. No, they asked him his bracket this year. He had Troy beating Kentucky in the first round. He said, well, they tend to lose to guys like us. I'm like, come on, man.
And last year after the game, they won in the first round. The upset, they were like, we're not nobody's Cinderella. Or that's double negative. We're not a Cinderella team. I remember him saying that. When
Calipari left, Golke sent out a video and said, hi, guys. Figured I'd make a video since I'm the one responsible for all this. I'm like, no, you're not.
I love it.
I hate him.
I love stirring the pot. I believe when my grandfather was wrestling, he was a heel as well. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I've got a couple more heels in mind. Lane Kiffin.
Yep, he's a heel.
He told I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. When he was at Tennessee, he told Alshon Jeffrey when he was recruiting him that if he went to South Carolina, he would end up pumping gas after college.
He did not end up pumping
and he,
gas.
in fact, did not end up pumping gas. Draymond Green is another one. I mean, that dude always finds something to stick his nose in.
I mean, he had a fist fight with his own player.
Yeah.
Or own players' teammates.
Yeah.
Pool party.
Yeah, that and practice.
Pool party.
Oh,
Jordan Poole.
that's
got
crazy.
Bodied. Jeff on our text line says Bill Laimbeer.
Yep.
Former Piston. Watching The Last Dance fueled my hatred for the bad boy Pistons and that whole bunch.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer. Just a bunch of dirty, dirty players.
But that was basketball back in the day, too. You got to remember. It's not your common.
It's grittier.
Yeah.
Like hand checking was legal, and
It's fun to watch.
it's by far the best era in basketball history, in
I'd
the
agree to
NBA
that.
history.
Yeah, I'd agree to that.
I mean, there are people that'll tell you Michael Jordan's only great because he played against plumbers. Look at how many greats came out of that team.
I believe when again, I wasn't even born when this all happened, but all Michael Jordan's NBA finals that he went to, I mean, never lost.
Never lost. Same exact team.
Yeah.
Didn't have, Scottie Pippen was an all-star. Dennis Rodman was an all-star, but he didn't need, the Kevin Durant's of the world or the Kyrie Irvings. Or
After watching The Last Dance, it gave me more appreciation of him to the fact that, like, yeah,
I mean, he's
in the off season, we'd go back to work like immediately. I'm like, that's it. That's how you wire your brain to be a true champion.
I mean, they got to the point where he's in '89. He lost to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, I believe, and he took that hard all off season. He trained and got ripped and worked on his shot. And
yes, perfected the craft.
And they asked him why, and he said, "I want to beat the Pistons. I don't want to lose to them again."
Yeah,
and he didn't. He beat them. I'm trying to think of football heels. I mean, Richard Sherman is a heel.
Yeah, Michael Crabtree.
That whole promo.
Would
LOB.
Albert Hainsworth be considered a heel?
He's a heel if he's not on your team. I
think. I just remember when he stomped on that Cowboy player's face that time.
Yeah.
That was a bad look. Ndamukong Suh, that's another one.
Oh, yeah. Ndamukong Suh. DeMarcus Cousins for us. He was a heel if he wasn't on your team, but we at Kentucky love him. Now we hate him because.
Would you consider Pac-Man Jones a heel?
Oh, yeah.
In some regard?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would consider him more of just a guy that ran his mouth. I don't know about a heel, maybe.
You had a heel on the Vols a couple years ago. Uros Plasic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that dude was a big heel.
That dude was a heel. That dude was always.
That dude was just 5 free fouls. That's what that guy was.
I hope he's enjoying playing in Serbia or wherever the hell he is.
Also, Devin and Dixon, thank you for clarifying the whole Kyle Busch fighting situation. He mentions there were a couple fights in recent years with Joey Logano and last year with Ricky Stenhouse. Yeah, I think that's the one I saw on TV was the Ricky Stenhouse fight. Kyle Busch should join the WWE. I mean, big old heel.
How have we missed the biggest heel in college basketball right now?
Go ahead.
Dan Hurley.
Yes. Oh, yes.
The biggest heel. And I mean, did you see him last night? They're doing an official review. Dan Hurley moseys his way over to the monitor. The official pushes him away. I didn't do anything. I didn't. Then they get him in the post-game interview, and they ask him, how does it feel getting the monkey off your back, getting the first win? He goes, feels pretty normal to me, which I think is kind of a cool comment.
Wow.
Going to golf, a sport we haven't mentioned yet. Ooh. Patrick Reed. Not a lot of heels in golf, but Patrick Reed is one that
sport, it's a hobby.
Is a major heel.
I would say for golf, obviously there's the Live Golf PGA separation now, but to some degree, I'd say Rory McIlroy is a little bit. Obviously, he won the Players tournament this past, last Sunday. And I was telling this to Robbie Stanley actually about, he took somebody's phone that was watching the tournament, and apparently it was like some college golfer. And he walked away with the dude's phone, and he was asked about it in the post-round press conference. He goes, "So did you know about the guy that, you took his phone from?" He goes, "I'm just happy I shot a 67 in the second round," and did not acknowledge it at all. I was like, that is the biggest heel comment on planet Earth.
Ben on our text
line. I hope that guy got his phone back.
Maybe.
Ben on our text line had the same thought I had. Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah. That was the next thing I was going to say. Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, when they had their big fallout between each other. I think it was, if they're golf fans that listen to the show, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know, DeChambeau and Koepka had a weird falling out to the point where they weren't going to talk to each other. And I think this was like around Ryder Cup of last year or 2 years ago. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I do recall something like that. It was an absolute popcorn worthy spectacle to watch.
I got one more.
Sure.
In the world of hockey, Matt Rempe.
Yes,
That dude. I mean, I don't think he's there to play hockey. I think he's just there to hit people.
it's fair.
As Big Joe says, he would do in college. Just hit people.
Just hit people. Let's see. What about Brad Marchand?
Oh yeah, I'd take Brad Marchand. Jordan Bennington, I think, is a heel. Locally, I would say Patrick Kane is a heel.
Just a heel on the Nashville Predators. There are a lot of nice guys.
Yeah.
A lot of smiling faces on this.
They're all
Predators team.
soft, according to Jay Moore, from what he said the other day. Dude, he went off on him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
You got to go back and listen to that.
Love Jay Moore.
Who on the Predators would be? I mean, we had Jeremy Lauzon who would just hit people.
Yeah.
He's shelved for the year.
It's tough.
Yeah. Maybe Jonathan Marchessault.
Maybe. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty close to heel worthy.
Maybe Ryan O'Reilly.
Nah.
I wouldn't classify him as a heel. I just think he's so hard on himself.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to think about that one in the break.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough. Preds.
I think I
finding
would
the heel
say,
on that team
I
is
mean,
tough.
Steven Stamkos is, I'd say he's a babyface, but a lot of people in Tampa Bay, not a fan of him.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely a heel to Tampa Bay fans
Yeah.
for sure. But I mean, that's on
The biggest heel to the Predators, Taves. On the
Jonathan
Blackhawks.
Taves.
Yeah, Jonathan Taves. Sidney Crosby, too.
Yep. Sid the Kid. Trying to think some other ones that just kind of escape my brain.
It'll come to me in the break, I'm sure. When we come back, let's get back into the madness. We broke down round one.
Mm-hmm.
Round two starts today. Got some good matchups today.
Indeed. Florida, UConn.
Florida. There's one particularly.
Well, not today, but that's the next matchup.
There is one particularly today that I am amped for. We'll get to that next. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This fire me up right now. I love this. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Do I have any reads to do? No, I don't. Okay. Round 2 of March Madness begins in about 45 minutes or so.
Let's do it.
Right as we get off the air. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm so ready I could get a tattoo.
You want a tattoo?
I don't know. My grandmother, she'd kill me.
Do you have a tramp stamp?
No.
Okay.
Of the Loch Ness Monster? Maybe. No.
Okay. I got a butterfly on my left.
Interesting. I feel like that'd be a funny tramp stamp if you just had the Loch Ness Monster. It was in the movie Mall Cop with Paul Blart.
Yeah.
He had the Loch Ness Monster back. That's hilarious.
That was a How I Met Your Mother joke. Ted goes out and gets drunk, and then he wakes up the next day, and he's got a butterfly tattoo on his left cheek. That's a good show.
I got a story for you off the air. I'll tell you.
You'd like that show a lot. Good matchups today. There's one that comes to my mind immediately as not just a Kentucky guy, but just a college basketball fan. Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks taking on Rick Pitino and the St. John's Red Storm. I call them the Johnnies, but they're technically the Red Storm. Does the Calipari curse finally take effect? It is still the first weekend. It is still liable to happen. I venture to say, yeah, it's going to happen. I think Rick Pitino is the best coach in this sport right now. And I think he just play a 2-3 zone. Calipari can't handle it.
Don Pitino. I'm going to start calling him Don Pitino. He's no longer Coach Pitino. He's Don Pitino. This guy, he's got St. John's playing good basketball. 31-4. I mean, going up against a team.
One of the best defensive teams in the nation.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Calipari has a really good resume when it comes to just the grand scheme of college basketball. But as for this season, they just struggled in SEC play. I'd say struggled a tad bit in the SEC tournament, but then they caught a little bit of a groove, and now, boom, they're. I mean, it's only one game into the NCAA tournament, but they look like a different team in the first round. Arkansas did just a little bit.
Yeah.
And now going up against St. John's, you feel like there's a good gap in between just talent.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say so?
I'd say so. I think it was more so Kansas lost than Arkansas won that first game. Because, I mean, Kansas, it was back and forth the entire game. Kansas had a 3-point lead, and then I think it was 6 straight turnovers.
Yeah.
And they just lost. I think what I'm more excited about for this game is not just the basketball aspect, but the fact that these two cannot stand each other. It goes back to the old Kentucky and Louisville days. You know, Calipari it was always a gritty battle between them, actually. There was one year Louisville won a national championship with an asterisk. Doesn't count anymore. It's gone for reasons I can't say. Vacated. Doesn't exist. But I think the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry really made them hate each other. And now I think it's just rekindled a grudge that's kind of been swept under the rug. And now that they're both coaching basketball at the same time, or two powerhouse programs.
Sports cinema.
That's
exactly what it is.
I'm thankful the basketball gods gave us this game.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But I like St. John's. I think I have them in the Elite Eight, actually.
Yeah, I may have. I think Elite Eight's how far I got them going. I wanted to take them Final Four.
They run into Florida, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
I got Florida winning it all.
I have a big buddy of mine who's a huge Florida fan that obviously I'm not, saying that they're going to win the whole thing. They might. Everybody in the nation has Florida winning this tournament. I don't want to solely put all my chips on Florida to win it all. I think there's a team out there that might upset them.
Yeah. It's just their side of the bracket. Like,
I mean, they have a good little run for them. Like they can take care of business.
There's 3 teams on their side. I think they could get. Hi, Joe. Auburn, I think could take them down. Michigan State.
Yeah.
I saw MSU.
That's who I have one in my bracket.
And then St. John's. I think they could do it.
Okay.
Other matchup today. I told you earlier, my twin plays in Rupp Arena today. Ryan Kalkbrenner and the Creighton Blue Jays taking on Auburn. I have had people reach out to me all week saying, hey, have you been told that you look just like the kid on Creighton? And I'm like, yeah, for years. We had the same haircut, same body build. We move the same. It's pretty uncanny, actually.
This guy's from St. Louis. I like
He's
this
a
kid
Cardinal.
already.
He's a
like this kid
Cardinal.
already.
He's a Cardinal. As far as that matchup is concerned, I don't know. I think this is a sneaky one. If Creighton plays the way they played against Louisville and Auburn plays the way they played against Alabama State in that first half, things could get interesting.
Yeah, and that brings me back to the comments that we made about the SEC and their, I guess, letter grade. Like I gave them a C-. That's another reason why I gave Auburn, or not Auburn, but the SEC as a whole a C-, because I don't think Auburn gets past Creighton.
Wow.
I'm a man that loves upsets, and this 9-1 matchup, like you said, if Creighton plays the way they did the first round against Louisville, Auburn's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just rely on Broome the whole entire game.
I love Greg McDermott. I think he's a great coach. I think he's very offensive-minded, recruits guards that can shoot, recruits solid post presence with Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's just a great shot blocker and great offensive post scorer. I just can't bet against Auburn. Right now, the way they've been playing, I think Janiah Broome matches up well with Kalkbrenner. I think Auburn is going to get it done. But I'm not saying it can't get interesting. I think it could be close.
I don't know, man. I'm still leaning towards the Blue Jays. That first round performance by the Blue Jays, and so, some may say, and obviously you hear Jared talking about the Louisville Cardinals. They're just glad they made it to the tournament. Yeah, hopefully they're in a good direction. For me, I think Louisville they were outplayed on so many different levels.
They were absolutely outplayed, and I think that's a testament to their season. A lot of Louisville fans were complaining we were underseeded, and rightfully so. Maybe you are. Mm-hmm. They should have been like a 5. But who did they play? Name one resume win they had.
I can't.
Exactly. I mean, I think they beat Clemson, who was also out in the first round.
So. They lost to McNeese State. Yeah, I better say, wait a minute now.
You're
going to have your frauds every now and then, especially.
Fraudulent. It's the ACC, man. Never trust the ACC.
Maybe the SEC as well. Maybe.
McNeese State, speaking to them in action today, taking on Purdue. I kind of like McNeese State to get it done.
I do too. Their manager, his name is Amir Khan.
Oh,
he comes out with the nice.
Seeing this guy, I think he's the first manager in history to get an NIL deal.
I mean, it's incredible.
He's hilarious.
His little boombox he comes out with is being sponsored by all these different companies. I think last game it was Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm just like, wow.
The cheerleaders had socks of his face on it.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Amir Khan, man.
But I like Will Wade and
the aura, as they call it.
What is McNeese's mascot?
Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Because they say pony up and saddle up and all that stuff. Yeah.
I like the Cowboys to get it done. I have Purdue winning, but based on how they played the other day,
I'm on McNeese State. I think they're one of the 3 other teams that are Cinderellas in this tournament. And I think 2 of the 3 Cinderellas end up going on to the next round. I'm in on McNeese State. I'm in on Drake. And crazy enough, I know this is not a Cinderella, but they're a lower seeded team at 7. I'm in on UCLA. I think they beat Tennessee today.
That is in action tonight at 8:20. You can go watch that on CBS, I think.
Yeah.
But I will be here watching it with Christian Skelton, friend of the show, Big Vol, and hopefully laughing at him by the end of the night. But
hopefully he doesn't hurt himself.
I think I want to get into this more on the other side. I disagree with you.
About?
I think Tennessee and Kentucky in the Sweet 16 is a probability.
Oh, boy. Point. Oh, boy.
Let's talk about it on the other side.
Please.
Coming up, we'll talk about that coming up next. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 4's Company brought to you by LPL Financial, investment advice for you in the short term and for the future. Welcome back in, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman behind the glass. And like we said the last segment, we're going to have a little debate here, you and I. You say UCLA is getting the win over Tennessee, UCLA. I call them UCLA because it's funny. I think Kentucky and Tennessee is most likely a probability in the Sweet 16. And begin.
Well, this is where I start with all this. UCLA, obviously, playing out west. The competition's not as great as the SEC. But like I said before in the show, UCLA performs better in games that matter. And that's
they show up in March.
And they show up in March. Obviously, this is a 5.5 point favorite for Tennessee on the spread there. But I mean, besides that, numbers are numbers. It's about who wants it more, and I think UCLA wants it more. Obviously, Tennessee, too, has the big issues of Zakai Ziegler. Can he get off to a hot start? Obviously, Wallman's mentioned before. We talked about it off the air when they went up against Florida in the SEC championship. If Tennessee can get off to a hot start, I think they'll be able to command the game. And to be honest with you, my gut's telling me something. I don't think Tennessee gets off to a hot start. I don't think they get off on the front foot. And if that's the case, UCLA starts out-rebounding them, and then they end up getting transition points, just capitalizing on every single missed shot Tennessee has. I'm not saying Tennessee is going to score 3 points like Georgia did. I'm talking about they only scored 3 points in the first 10 minutes of the first half, I think yesterday, the day before. So I think Tennessee does play to the degree of making it competitive, but I don't think they play enough, I guess, well enough to win the game.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like this is Tennessee's to lose at this point. I don't think they're the best team in the nation, but I think they have a favorable draw in this region up until the Sweet 16, similar to Kentucky.
Right.
Although I'm kind of fearful of Illinois. Did I show you this? I was circling my bracket as you do when you win. When Kentucky won, I got too excited and accidentally circled them for the round of 32.
Oh my.
So we may be screwed. If they lose, it's my fault. I apologize to the Big Blue Nation. But the basketball gods have already given us St. John and Arkansas.
Yeah.
What we wanted to see. I am praying they do not give us this game because I don't want to play Tennessee again.
I don't think it's going to happen, man. I just, my bracket forecast, just looking at it, UCLA takes Tennessee down. And they go on to the next round and take on Kentucky. I told you at the beginning of the show, I think Kentucky is one of those teams that you kind of got to buy a little stock into because it'd be UCLA versus Kentucky.
Those boys are playing for Pope. Go watch the press conference.
Yes.
Which was phenomenal. Pope said, he's Mormon, obviously, but it's kind of an allegory of life. God has a plan for us. We are exactly where we're supposed to be, right when we need to be. Win or lose, this is the most fun I've ever had coaching. This is the best team I've ever coached. And I was like, I'm going to cry. What are your thoughts on Kentucky and Illinois?
It'll be interesting. The game where Tennessee, it was the beginning of the season, Tennessee won like on a buzzer beater layup against Illinois.
On the road
Champaign. That's the kind of feeling I have for this Kentucky-Illinois game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be back and forth, pretty tight. It's just a matter of who's going to capitalize on the perimeter of the shooting. I think that's where you're going to see the separation of the game.
I think I'd rather lose to Illinois in the second round than lose to Tennessee in the Sweet 16.
Really?
I couldn't do it. I don't think I would be able to come to work.
I'm at a loss of words right now.
You're biased, by the way, according to the text line.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the bias. I'm confused right now with your comments because you'd rather lose to Illinois in the second round than lose to Tennessee in the third round. I get, you don't want to lose to Tennessee. I get that. But like the further you go in the tournament, the more, I guess, the resume adds to Mark Pope. Don't you want the resume to be good for a new coach at Kentucky? Don't you want to have that extra of like, oh, Sweet 16, that'd be great to be in there with Mark Pope.
Sweet 16, I would absolutely love for Mark Pope. I'm saying this from more of a fan perspective.
Right.
I don't want to, I don't want to deal with the whole Vols. Well, we got the one that mattered when, they've been beaten 2 out of 3.
Right.
It's just, it would be so frustrating. And I'm sure Vols fans the other way feel the same, going into this game. We lost to Kentucky 3 times in a row. We're supposed to own them, which, first of all, you don't. There has been no decade in the history of basketball where Kentucky has not led the series.
Look at this guy licking his chops behind the glass over here. He's ready.
He's ready. He's fired up.
You're ready to just pounce on me, aren't you? Your face is turning red. You don't like the comments I'm making about Tennessee.
Neither does the text line, by the way.
I wouldn't say I'm ready to pounce. It's
I'm
funny.
the heel right now to Tennessee sports.
It's funny that you guys bring up, who would Connor rather play, Illinois or who would you rather lose to? I guess Illinois or Tennessee. I was listening to a reaction show from Tennessee's game after they played Wofford, and that was one of the questions: was who would you rather play, Illinois or Kentucky? Because Tennessee has seen both sides of the coin. They had that buzzer beater layup against Illinois, and playing them on a neutral court, I think maybe gives Illinois a little bit more of the edge. But I would also really like to play Kentucky. Part of me would like a third shot at them, because despite them being a bad matchup, I feel like this team can beat Kentucky. But I mean, I don't know. I guess depending on what happens tonight, I will give my assessment tomorrow on where I'd rather be.
Okay. Interesting.
Right now, I'm only focused on UCLA.
UCLA. He's
Bruins.
focused on UCLA. I don't know. My nerves won't be able to take a Sweet 16. I'll be excited. I'll be like, oh, we're in the Sweet 16. This team was not supposed to go that far. But I'll be like, oh, what if we lose to Tennessee? They will never shut up about it.
We'll see. We'll just have to see.
We'll see. Thoughts on other second round matchups? Got some good ones. Ole Miss, Illinois, or Iowa State.
Yep.
That's going to be a good one.
Ole Miss is one of those teams, and we saw it yesterday against North Carolina. This game would be played tomorrow, but obviously North Carolina was one of those 11 seed teams that just want to just extend their resume essentially. But Ole Miss showed that they're the real deal, in my opinion. I think they're one of the teams that kind of shines out of the SEC, especially with their I guess forecast of the bracket. You go up against a team like Iowa State, which obviously Iowa State handed Lipscomb pretty handedly for the most part.
Well, I forgot the most important part of this segment that I filled out.
Oh, please.
What is your Final Four?
Oh,
what do you have
Final
listed?
Four? Well, let's give that a gander. I believe it was Florida, Duke, Michigan State, and the last team is escaping me, so I apologize.
McNeese State.
No, as much as I'd love for that to be, no. Let's see, Michigan State, Florida, and Duke. My goodness. Sorry, everybody. This is terrible radio. Let's see. Michigan State, Florida, and then Duke and Houston. Those are my final four. Yep.
I'm not far off from you.
Really?
I have Michigan State, Florida, Bama, and Houston.
Ooh, Bama.
I got Bama taking down Duke.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think Alabama basically can score more points and just hope and just pray that they score more points than Duke? Because like we've talked about in shows past, they just don't play defense.
Yeah. No. Bama is, I've said this before, Bama's a team that they can drop 110 on you. Problem is they may give up 111 and lose.
Yeah.
So
because they let Robert Morris put up 81 the other day, which is wow.
I don't know. I just feel like Bama is one of those teams that when they get hot, they get hot.
Yeah.
And they got Mark Sears, who, first team All-American, absolute superstar.
They had me worried yesterday when I was watching the game, like, because Robert Morris was hanging in there. It was like a 5-point game for the most part.
I was like, this is going to destroy my bracket.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I posted my bracket yesterday, and Big Joe slid up and said, no one cares. I don't know if he's still here. But
Jared had a big rant on this the other day.
Jared does it every year, which I counter with, have fun, man. This is a bracket. You only get this once a year. Enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy it. I care about your bracket. You can send me your brackets. I'll
Connor Newt will autograph them if need be.
I'll autograph them. I finished the first round 26-6, which is not bad.
It's pretty good.
Not bad at all. Let's get into picks coming up next. I literally wrote down pick 3 second round games.
Wonderful.
Because there's nothing else going on that anyone cares about.
I'm in for it.
We'll do it coming up next. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. She's back. She's returned. 4's Company, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly BI membership, where the buzz is always about great service. One final segment from us. Do quickly want to mention, I know we've been talking about basketball all day, but as of last night from Jordan Schultz, he put out there that the Vikings have had discussions with former Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill about a potential deal. He says talks are ongoing and nothing is imminent as of right now, but it is something that could get done. I like that move.
Yeah.
For the Vikings. That tells me they are not fully invested in J.J. McCarthy.
To be fair, J.J. McCarthy had a really good preseason last year before he got hurt. I believe I was watching the preseason game where he hurt his ACL, but there's hesitation there. There is hesitation
what they're doing
to
is,
let it loose.
I think he goes there, first of all. I think they're getting him a mentor with the similar play style as him. And I think Tannehill will start for a little bit, see how he does, and then we'll sit him and throw JJ out there.
Well, to be fair, if the Vikings have a better offensive line than the Titans in years past, which it seems like it, because Sam Darnold had a pretty good year last year.
You may get your money's worth in Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill might be that guy that kind of is that, I wouldn't say stopgap quarterback, but he's your Sam Darnold replacement, your 2.0. I mean, your perfect systematic quarterback.
And cheaper, too.
Yeah.
He'd probably be here on a one-year deal.
Yeah. 1
year, 11, 12 million.
And in the meantime, it gives, the Vikings a little bit of opportunity to, like, you know what, maybe does anybody need a quarterback? Seems like people need a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, hey, second-round pick, third-round pick, whatever. You want
Or
him?
if you're the New England Patriots, you're trying to trade Joe Milton for a third-round pick. A seventh-round draft pick is going to be traded for a
Titans fans love Joe Milton for what he did in the final week of the season last year.
Pay for him.
But
go get him.
A third-round pick? Come on now.
I mean, he didn't do anything. I mean, he took down the Bills. He's the reason you got the number one pick.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Right. I have never said anything bad about Joe Milton ever.
But to your point, though, about Tannehill, I think it's a great fit. Like you're saying, I'm alluding to your point. I think he does sign there too. If he's interested in coming back to the NFL, which I mean, they're talking. So yeah,
they're talking. Maybe he's bored. Maybe the golf course isn't treating him right.
Maybe he's done fishing. Maybe
does he still live here? Do you think?
Maybe.
I had a buddy who lived right down the street from him.
Really?
Yeah, I considered going and knocking on his door. Hey, Ryan.
DoorDash him some food. I
got your chicken tendies right here, Ryan. All right, let's get into picks.
Please, let's get into some picks.
Just pick 3 second-round games. That's all you got to do.
You go ahead, Connor Newt.
You're
the one that's passionate about March Madness. You do it.
Okay.
Break the ice.
We'll start with the one we hit hard earlier, St. John's in Arkansas. I'll preface this by saying do not pick the same games as each other. Please.
Yes.
There's 16 games. We can handle this. Give me St. John's in Arkansas. I like Rick Pitino and the Johnnies to get it done. I think the Calipari curse strikes once again. Cal does not advance past the weekend.
What's your other two? Go ahead.
Oh, we're just rattling them off?
Yeah, might as well, right?
Yeah. Give me Florida over UConn. I like Todd Golden and company. I heard a caller yesterday call him Clayton Walters Jr. Walter Clayton Jr. First team All-American. But I like Florida. I like Florida going all the way, actually. But I want Florida to send Crybaby Danny home. And then the other one, give me BYU over Wisconsin.
Wow. Upset, huh?
This is the most white people you are ever going to see on a basketball court at the same time. And I think BYU gets it done.
Okay. Interesting. As for myself, I'm going to go with, it's kind of chalk, but I'm going to go with Duke to beat Baylor. I'm pretty sour about Mississippi State losing in the first round. So Duke, just pummel Baylor, please, to like no end.
They will. Don't worry.
Other one I'm intrigued about, Michigan and Texas A&M.
Yeah, I thought about that one.
We've talked all year for the most part that we think A&M's kind of some frauds, right? Yeah.
I got Michigan over them too.
Yeah, so do I. I'm gonna go Michigan on that one, and then I'll save that one for Wallman. But I'm going with Drake to beat Texas Tech today.
Hold on, I'm rescinding a pick. I forgot we're not just taking games today
and tomorrow, right?
Give me Kentucky over Illinois. I'll rescind my UConn Florida pick.
There you go.
Give me Kentucky over Illinois.
Love that.
We got a call from New York. They said, hey,
review.
Yeah. Gene Steratores chimed in. The rules analyst for everything. Can't wait to see Gene Steratore on women's pickleball coming up soon.
Easy now. Pickleball's the sport,
Hey,
man.
There's one man here at this station I would fear playing pickleball, and that's Willie Donick.
I've heard.
He's a legend on that.
He's
course.
legit.
Jake Wallman, finish us out. Just give us 3
All righty. I'm going to go with my first game today. Doesn't start until 6 o'clock. Creighton over Auburn.
Whoa.
Love that.
Ryan Newtbrenner.
Love
Get it
that pick.
I think Auburn's a good team, but I remember the experience that Creighton gave Tennessee last year. Auburn's in for a 40-minute fight. So give me Creighton over Auburn. And then I'm going to save that game for my last one.
The headgear pick.
And then St. Mary's over Alabama.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't see that one.
St. Mary's over Alabama.
What made you conjure up that idea?
The orange. You know?
It's not the orange. Alabama didn't look ready yesterday.
Wow. Okay.
They didn't look ready. St. Mary's has come into the tournament high. I saw a stat during the Vanderbilt game. Their previous 5 halves, like 2.5 games, they were like 4 of 45 from 3-point range.
Really?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Honestly, might be onto something because St. Mary's actually plays defense.
Yeah.
St. Mary's is a big team.
Yeah.
And they play a lot of pick and roll.
So it might listen. Wallman's onto something here. No, easy now. Don't get
Feeling
too
myself.
excited.
Feeling myself.
Now,
in
what's
here.
your last game? This is the thing.
Living your hopes and not your fears, Vol fans. Connor, let's meet in the Sweet 16, man.
Let's do it. Let's end a friendship. Let's create a war for a whole week on Twitter. It'll be you,
Me and Parker Kelly versus you
and Christian Skelton versus me, and that's it. I'm in a handicap matchup. Well,
I'll just be watching as a spectator with popcorn.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll have haters too.
I feel like you may chime in.
I'll have haters too because Chase hates Kentucky. Joe likes to start trouble.
Joe Dubin? No.
Yeah, Joe Dubin.
No.
Never.
I could maybe recruit Joe Rexroad. Get him on my side.
You can recruit me.
I'll take you.
I'm in.
I'll take you.
I'm in.
There we go.
It's like playing recess football right now.
Yeah, it is.
I'll hold my hand up. Pick me, please. No, I have my comments I've already made about the Vols game. Don't worry.
I think that's the one I'm most other than not Arizona, Arkansas and St. John's. I think that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
The only bad thing about it is it's at 8:40.
I'll be here. I'll be
So
doing a Preds game.
Like I'm sitting around all day just
Those are the worst.
waiting
Like,
on
you're
this game
just-
to start.
Like,
And
the anxiety boils up.
It's
even
kind of
more.
like a home game a little bit for Tennessee because it's in Lexington.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, Tennessee fans after that round of 64 game probably scooped up some tickets with Louisville and Wofford dropping out. So
Another example of people need to listen to me more. I had some friends that went up to Tennessee in Rupp. I said, get the ice cream. They did it. They said, this is life-changing. I said, you people.
I'll have to put that
You
on
need
my
to
bucket
listen
list.
to me.
had
I'm
an
the
extra
most
scoop, huh?
I'm underutilized talent. People need to listen to me.
Oh boy.
I know I'm young, but like, come on, man. Like when someone knows what they're talking about, chances are they're probably right. So
Got that right.
I want talent utilized more. And that's not me clamoring for a promotion. That I promise. I'm happy where I am. That'll do it for us today on 4's Company. We got plenty of action coming the rest of the day. Vanderbilt baseball coming on here pretty shortly. Preds in action tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs over in Bridgestone Arena. That dropped the puck at 6. I believe pregame begins at 5 with Max Hers and company. I'll be on the board, actually. As for us, enjoy the madness.
I'm ready.
I'm so ready. It's a big weekend. For Connor Newt, myself, Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman behind the glass. This has been 4's Company on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
See ya.